and actually realise that they need their parents and how important that they actually are.
Over the past year, the United States has been rocked by a publishing sensation. Chrtistopher Paolini's fantasy novel, Eragon, a book about a boy and his young dragon, has sold more than 1 million copies there so far, just in hardback. Chrtistopher was 15 when he started writing it, suspended between the world of the child and the world of the adult.
Do you want me to draw and brandish? It's kind of a cliche, but you might want to say a tradition in fantasy and even science fiction to come in and kill the protagonist's family, which I did, of course. But by removing the support system for your character, by removing the family, the home, the safety, you basically kick your character out into the world and say, grow up, survive. And the quest is a natural outgrowth of this. You know, the character says, well, how can I find safety? How can I find a home? How can I grow up? How can I become an individual unto myself? And that's what I think the quest really represents.
Like G.P. Taylor, the teenage Chrtistopher Paolini originally published his book himself. Eragon sold so fast and in such quantities that he was soon signed up by Random House for a 3-book deal, and the film rights, yet again, have been sold to Hollywood. Chrtistopher could now afford the lifestyle of an A-list celebrity in New York or Los Angeles, but he chooses to stay at home with his parents and sister in Montana, the place that fired his imagination.
The fact that we did not have television in the house, and the fact that we lived in a fairly remote area, basically we had to come up with our own forms of entertainment. You couldn't just, you know, run out to a bookstore or a movie theater or anything. You had to entertain yourself. So my sister and I mean, we invented tons of games. I mean, it was good training for writing a book because we would act out these elaborate storylines. You know, we'd go in the trees along the Yellowstone River and we'd turn them into spaceships and forts and castles and, you know, have all these games. It was kind of like a Tom Sawyer upbringing, just being able to run outside, you know, shooting at various dead branches with a slingshot and all that. I read all the fantasy that my library had and all the science fiction. And actually, now that I think back on it, when I ran out of those books, that's right when I started writing Eragon. You know, it was, what am I going to read now? You know, and so I wrote my own and tried to combine all the aspects of fantasy books that I enjoy myself and sort of condense them into one book and do it right this time.
So what do you say to those people who say that fantasy fiction is a degraded form?
Fantasy is an inappropriate form. Oh boy. Well, if you want to ignore fantasy, if you want to throw out fantasy, then let's throw out The Tempest by Shakespeare. Let's throw out A Midsummer Night's Dream. Let's throw out Beowulf, the Odyssey, the Iliad. So much of classical literature, and especially early mythology and heroic verse, if you will, is fantasy.
What